There are also some seats here in the front. Nobody else. Okay, good morning. Welcome, everybody. My name is Michele Bertoni. I'm going to be your lecturer for the next 3 months. We're going to learn about accounting. We are streaming online right now. Okay, so I hope you guys at home can hear me. There are 7 students at home. I probably won't have the time to, pay attention to you online and also to the people here in this room. So, but since we are going to have a break, typically, maybe we can, you can chat, you can type a message, or you can also talk because we can hear you. Okay, so if you switch your microphone on, only if you need to say something, of course, everybody can hear you because we have this system here. Okay. And we have those. Do they work? Those screens there? Can you see anything there? No. Okay. Okay. Too bad. And anyway, I'm going to use the projector. I'm going even to write on my computer because otherwise people online cannot see my blackboard. Okay, so I need to use an electronic whiteboard in order for them to see what I write. And you saw we have some issues with this system. You need to reserve your seat, which actually makes sure that everybody has a seat, okay, which is useful. And you also had to register your presence here, okay, so by scanning that code. Unfortunately, it is a slow process. If you haven't done it already, you can do it again, or not again, the first time, during the break. The bad news is you need to do this every day, okay, so, and for each class, okay, so I know it's a pain in the back, but it's useful, at least we hope it's useful, because this way we can track people, we can know who was here and when, okay, in this room. So it will make easier for us to limit in case of contagion. We don't want to go online. We want to stay here. So it's easier to track any contagion if you use this system. Okay, so this is about the app. Another issue regarding the organization. Of course, today is the first day, so probably you did not know where the class was, okay, where the room was. Okay, so in the future, you can, of course, take your seat whenever you arrive. Okay, so you don't have to wait outside. If you're late, sometimes it happens. Okay, try not to disrupt my class. Okay, so if you're late, do not make much noise. Just don't walk in front of me, ignoring me like I don't exist when I'm talking. Okay, because I get distracted. So just get in and take your seat if there is one. Typically, we don't start at 9 o'clock sharp. Okay, in the morning, because I know that some people commute. Well, I commute myself, so it might take a few minutes. So let's say we start at 9:10, okay, so 10 minutes past 9, something like that, okay, in order to allow for everybody to arrive. Typically, we have a break in our classes. We have 2-hour sessions and 3-hour sessions. Of course, when we have 3-hour session, definitely we need a break. Even with 2-hour sessions, probably after 45, 50 minutes, you need a break. Okay, so it's going to be short. And please, if I tell you I'll see you in 10 minutes, please be back, okay, in 10 minutes. So don't wander off looking for a bar or something, because otherwise everything will slow down. It's going to take 20 minutes instead of 10, so that's going to be a problem. Now, a few words about this course, accounting. So today we're going to explain what accounting is. I'll try to explain why we study accounting. So why are you sitting here? Why are you sitting here on your first day ever, okay, of classes in business and economics? Because we have both students of business and economics. Okay, so why is accounting here on day one, along with mathematics? Okay, that makes you realize that probably both accounting and mathematics are going to give you some basic tools you're going to use in your career when studying and also in the workplace. And those are the foundations, essentially, okay, what you need to know. That's why we start with accounting and mathematics. Now, I don't know if you have read what we call the syllabus. Okay, it's not really a syllabus, but we call it that way. It's the program, essentially, of the course. It may be content heavy, okay, so difficult to read. And so I'm going to try to explain the meaning of this today. So what do we mean by financial information, using financial information, and so on. Now, the problem with accounting is that it's about providing information, financial information, typically. So there is a specific field, okay, of information, which is financial information. And typically, accounting is regulated. There are standards, there are laws, okay, that regulate accounting. And those rules are very often country-specific. Okay, so you have some rules in Italy which are different from those in Germany and those in China and so on. However, we are going to make reference to generic rules, okay, which are applicable anywhere. Okay, so we don't make reference to, I don't know, the Italian laws. Okay. Also, the problem is, since we have this course in English, we are forced to use, of course, textbooks in English, right? And textbooks in English typically focus on international accounting standards or US standards. Okay, so this is the main focus. You don't have books in English about Italian standards or German standards. Okay, they're very rare and not suitable for students to approach, okay, this topic for the first time. So we'll make reference to something called the International Financial Reporting Standards. Very, let's say, light reference, okay, because it's a complex topic. We won't deal with all the details. And we have a textbook, and I'll get there in a moment. And your textbook is very US-centric. Okay, so it's written with the American standards in mind, which is not bad because they're very similar to international standards. But sometimes I will have to specify. Look, this is only applicable in the United States, okay, not elsewhere, because some of the provisions they explain in the textbook are not really applicable everywhere in the world. And that's one of the the main problems we have here. Another problem is some of you might have studied accounting already at school, right? I don't know, maybe some of you. Well, of course, you might have studied accounting in Italy or in your country where you studied, which is going to be different from what we are going to do in this course. Okay, so the approach is different. The explanations are going to be different, but most importantly, we're going to focus not on how to do stuff, but on why we need to do stuff. Okay, so it's not a matter of memorizing recording entries, so double entry bookkeeping. The problem, you need to know, of course, those entries, but the main focus will be, okay, why do we need to record a transaction this way? Okay, so this is what I realize is the most important difference in what you studied at school and what we try to do here at the university. Well, in fact, I'll try to explain the focus on the objectives, okay, of the course, and also I'll try to explain what is the approach we take here. And the objective is to make you proficient users of financial information. That's the objective. So maybe not all of you are going to become professional accountants. Okay, maybe some of you will, but not all, of course. But even if you're not going to become an accountant, you're going to use information. You're going to need financial information in order to make decisions. Moreover, you're probably going to be evaluated on the basis of accounting measures. You're probably going to be given a budget. You're going to be assessed on the basis of your return on investments. Those are all accounting measures. Okay, so even if you're not going to become an accountant, you're going to use accounting measures. You're going to be measured, so to say. You're going to be assessed, okay, by accounting measures. So this is something that you need to know, regardless of what your field is going to be. Could be, you know, marketing, human resources, whatever. But you need accounting. And even if you say, okay, I want to study economics, I don't care about business, fine. However, you need to be capable of reading the information that firms are reporting in order to make statistics or to assess the impact of public policies on the economy. Okay, you need information, and some of this information is going to be financial information. If you don't know how this information is prepared, if you don't know the standards, the assumptions, and all the conventions which are behind this information, it's going to be very difficult to understand what you're reading. So this is the reason why I said accounting is going to give you the tools for your job. Okay, it will be whatever it's going to be, because we all have to deal with financial information in general. Okay, so you could become one of those who prepare this information, so an accountant, or you're going to be one of the users of this information. Okay, so users are, as we'll see in a moment, not only outsiders. Very often those are insiders. It is within the same organization. So you're going to use information which is available inside your organization only, which is not available to the public. It is still part of accounting. And so accounting also deals with information provided to internal users of information. So people in the organization, managers and so on, need information in order to make a decision. And this is going to be our main focus. Okay, so we will learn how to read and understand financial statements, which are a standardized way of producing and reporting information. Because there are standards, there are rules, and we're going to learn them. We're going to learn how to read the statements. We're going to learn how to prepare those statements. Okay, although maybe you know already that there is also another accounting course next year. Okay, so there is this one, and then we have the advanced accounting course. So there's more. There's more than what we teach here. But the idea is this. We focus on this user perspective approach, right? In order to make you proficient users, even if you're not going to become professional accountant, which is, by the way, a profession which is appreciated. Many of our students are employed in this field. It's very common for our students to be employed in this field. The big accounting firms hire a lot of our students. This is typically your first employment, because they hire a lot of young people, and so it's not unlikely that you might have a couple of years experience in accounting before moving to some other field, or you can remain in the field if you like it. But it is a profession which is appreciated, and it's not simple to find qualified people. Even we know that, I mean, you're not going to be the only graduates in business and economics out there, okay, 3 years from today. Yet, if you specialize, okay, in one field, well, accounting is one of the fields that is going strong in terms of employment. All right, this is the textbook. Okay, now maybe some of you have already seen the textbook. It's rather sizable. Okay, there are like 1,000 pages. Okay, so you might be impressed. Well, I admit it's a lot because we have a lot of ground to cover. That's a fact. However, the textbook also has plenty of exercises and examples and tables, so that's why it's so massive. Now, make sure you get the right code here, the right ISBN code, because there are many editions of this book, and you need the right one. You need the one with the financial and managerial chapters. Those are typically 2 volumes, or maybe, I don't know, maybe more recently just 1 volume, but it must contain both parts, okay, not just the financial or just the managerial. Now, if you find older editions, it's fine. Okay, so we don't need to be 100% up to date. So I think there's a 2016 edition out there, so you find it used, perfect. Okay, no problem. If you have doubts, you found the book and you don't know whether it is suitable, I mean, you can ask me and I'll tell you whether that's the right book or not. This is the global edition. Also, that's all relevant because it means it's aimed at markets outside the United States. It's cheaper. Okay, so cheaper than what you would buy if you were to buy the US edition, which is the original edition. And it's also it also introduces some references to the international reality other than just focusing on the US. So this is the text we're going to use. I'm going to be much to follow the order of the chapters, okay, in the textbook. So we'll start with what we call financial accounting, and I'll explain what that is in a moment. And then we continue with managerial accounting. Now, why do we need both? Well, we learn that the system we are learning, which is this international system, financial accounting and managerial accounting are interconnected. You can't learn financial accounting without learning managerial accounting, essentially. That's the problem that we are going to face. And so we need to face both problems, okay, both fields of accounting. And sometimes you have accounting courses which are separated. You start learning financial accounting, and then another course you take managerial accounting. Okay, we need to do both because in order to get to the financial statements prepared by firms, in order to be able of reading actual financial statements, you need both. Okay, you need to learn about financial and managerial. What is the difference? Well, let me explain in a moment. But I'm going just to specify that the main difference is that financial accounting deals with outsiders, so users of information who are external to the organizations, while managerial accounting deals with insiders, people who are inside the organization. That's the main difference. Okay, so we'll see what this difference entails later when I'll explain better the issue we have here with our course. What else? Okay, some additional resources besides this textbook. We have a website called Moodle, where I upload all the materials. Anything you see here is going to be uploaded and available for you. So you need to look for this course here, 2021, not previous, because I make some changes, okay, from year to year. Now you can only access this if you have your credentials, which probably not all of you have, because you need to complete the enrollment process. So in case you cannot access, you can use a guest user with a password accounting. Okay, so it's easier, it's lowercase. So this password will allow you to access the material even if you cannot log in yet. It's going to take a while. Be patient, because probably it's going to take at least a couple of weeks, okay, or maybe 3 weeks, to get finally your credentials. That will, and then you'll have full access to all the resources. In the meantime, you can use this password. And by the way, the credentials are the enrollment credentials, your matricola, okay, is going to be useful also for accessing Teams. Okay, our online video conference system we're using right now. So only with your full credentials, because there is a licensing issue with Microsoft. Only with your full credentials can you access Microsoft Teams. And once you have your credentials, and those online, of course, where they did this, you can join a team using this code here. And you'll join the team. In this team, you'll find the recordings, because we are by the way, we are recording right now. Okay, so we are recording this class. So you can review this later when you have access to this class, to this code. Recordings are going to stay there for, well, in my intention, for 1 year at least. Okay, so there's no need to hurry. I'm not going to delete anything. Okay, so I still have the past year's recording online, so don't worry. So the idea is that thanks to the recording, if you skip one class, you can see what we discussed about. You can also stay online, as some of your colleagues are doing right now. However, unless you really have to, I would strongly suggest you come here. Why is that? Well, nothing against you online, of course, but the point is, it's, in my experience, it's more effective. Of course, if you have no other choices, then of course stay online. Otherwise, even if this system works pretty well, because they are now seeing what you see, they see this screen here online. Okay, they see us. Well, they see me in this moment, but earlier on they saw you, and I hope they can hear me. It is a pretty good microphone, so typically they can understand what I say. There's not much distortion. It works very well. Yet it's not the same as being here face to face. I can read your expressions. I can see if you don't understand, or if you get bored. So there is something I can do to fix a problem which I cannot do, or if you're online. So, okay. So this is the suggestion. Of course, once again, if there's no other option, of course, there's the reason why we set up this system, to allow everybody to attend. Okay, even the people that cannot physically be here for a variety of reasons. Okay, this is the suggestion. Twitter, I don't know. I know that you guys don't use Twitter. I'm not going to use Instagram, but we have a Twitter account I can use for sharing articles and news which might be of interest to you. Okay, so this is the use I make of this Twitter account. If you're interested, you can set up a Twitter account, and from time to time I'm going to share some news or articles which are related to what we explain in our classes. Okay, so this is the only use I make of Twitter. Of course, it's fully optional. Nobody's going to ask you what I posted on October the 27th. Okay, so it's just for your benefit, additional material if you want to learn about accounting. And this is also opens the issue of how to study, or if you allow me, how to use this time at the university. Okay, because now you're investing some time and resources in your education, right? Time and money. And you also learn that you're also investing something more. There is an opportunity cost when you study economics. You learn what that is. That is, instead of working today, you are sitting here, you're not earning anything. Okay, so you are missing an earning right now. Okay, so you need to make sure that the return on your investment is good enough to justify this investment. Okay, so those are accounting metrics if you think about it. Now, how do you maximize the return on your investment? You're investing on yourself. Okay, so you want the maximum return possible. Well, of course, at the university, we try to provide you with the necessary knowledge, which will allow you to, to face the any working environment in the future. But that's not enough. That's the minimalist. Okay, if you're really passionate about one topic, I know it could be accounting, it could be finance, it could be marketing. Okay, you should try to learn more on your own. Maybe you read some articles, or you find some news, or you go to some conferences, because also you have this opportunity at university to meet maybe your future employers, who knows, okay? And they come here, and maybe they are experts in their fields, and this opportunity is only in this part of your life. You're not going to have this opportunity again in the future. You're not going to have 3 years, 5 years to invest on yourself, not again. Okay, so this is a unique opportunity you have. So the best way to use it in order to maximize, okay, the return on this investment is right to use it well, to get what the university can offer. Because sometimes students just don't ignore some of the opportunities we have, and which is really a shame, because there are many opportunities. There are opportunities for studying abroad, which are very important, broadening your horizons. Okay, so this is very important. So take them. There are conferences, and go to the conference, even if maybe, okay, I'm tired because I just had 4 hours mathematics, but yet it is useful, because it can really enrich, okay, your knowledge. It can enrich your preparation in general. Okay, so this is something that I recommend, absolutely. And another problem, you will say, it's not a problem, it's a characteristic, is that this is your first year at the university, at least for most of you at least. And so suddenly you're free. Nobody's going to give you, to assign you homework. Nobody's going to check whether you're studying or not, right? However, this freedom means that you need to organize your own work. So it's up to you. For some, this is liberating at last. Okay, after so many years at school, where they were telling me what to do, finally I'm free. And for some, instead, it is a problem, because sometimes you lack some self-control, and you say, okay, I'll study later. There's no hurry. January, when we have the exams, is far away, so I'm going to start studying around Christmas time. Well, if you do that, it's a very high risk that you are going to lag behind. And if you lag behind, you don't pass the exams. If you don't pass the exam, nobody's going to call you and say, okay, what happened? Are you fine? Is there anything we can do for you? Because, of course, we care if you pass or fail, but essentially, we care about the statistics. Okay, so, okay, 70% pass the exam. Okay, that's fine. Okay, what about the remaining 30%? Well, hopefully they will take the exam again, but then nobody's going to really check what's going on. Do you need anything? What can we do for you? It's up to you, right? So, and trust me, it's very easy to lag behind, because those exams are going to start to accumulate. And even in this we call this the first semester, from October to January. You have accounting and mathematics. Assuming that you don't take those exams in January, then you have two or three other important courses. Also, you had law. I forgot about you had law, right? Not right. So three exams. Okay. So another 3 exams in the second semester. Okay. So if you start skipping, okay, the exams, then suddenly they accumulate, and you're going to waste your time and money here, because it's going to take you longer than 3 years to graduate. Okay, so this is my advice is don't delay studying. Start studying as soon as we start classes. Okay, this will be the best choice. So we have accounting and mathematics, and in both subjects, we start pretty easy. I mean, at the beginning, it's not that complex. You can think, well, it's not that difficult. I mean, I can do it. But then, but all the material is going to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. Okay, so I'm not saying that it is terribly difficult. Okay, so you don't need to be, I would say, you don't need to be a beautiful mind, okay, to study this. I mean, anyone with an average intelligence can do it. But you need discipline, and you need discipline because after a while the topics are so many that you need to have everything under control. And since we build on the initial topics, as we'll explain, one of the most important classes will be of this course for the entire semester will be this week, when I'm going to lay the foundations what accounting is. Okay, and this is going to be probably, if not the most important, well, I'd say the most important, okay, the most important class. And if you skip this class, or if you just don't pay attention, or you think, well, I'm going to study this maybe in December, you don't understand what I'm going to say later, because it's going to be based on what I explained in that crucial class. Okay, so I'm going to warn you anyway, pay attention, because it's, we need to lay the foundations, and then we need to build our building, and of course we need strong foundations if you want to really understand what we do and what the aim is. So about myself, I'm a Clevertoni. PhD means that I kept studying after graduating. So I'm an associate professor of accounting, means I hold a permanent position here, so I'm going to remain here. I do this for a living. And my office is not in this building, it's in our building D, which is down there. It's called Economia, third floor. I hold office hours. Now, I know that you have mathematics, okay, on Mondays from 3 to 5. Of course, I'm ready well, I'm going to set some special office hours just for you towards the end of the semester, or otherwise you can send me an email, say, well, I cannot meet you at 5. Can we meet at 6? Okay, we can arrange that. Okay, so it's not impossible. Typically, since I realize I can do that, I hold office hours online. It's much easier for everybody. So I use Microsoft Teams, okay, for my office hours. There is you'll find on the website of the department a code you can use, or you can just send me a message, and I'll open a conference, okay, for you. What are office hours? Office hours when I'm available for you for explanations, if you have doubts, if you want something explained again or explained differently. Okay, this is what office hours are. All professors have office hours. Okay, so essentially is when you're going to find them for you. Okay, those are the office hours. Sometimes I need to make some changes. For instance, today I don't have office hours. I moved them to Tuesday. Okay, and all changes are published on the website. This is the website, the department's website. By the way, you're in a department right now, okay? So this is what we call at the university. The university has departments, and this is the Department of Business and Economics, Mathematics, and Statistics. Okay, so this is the department. So we have a website, which I invite you to visit, where all the professors publish their announcements. Okay. Now I also have an email. However, let's say a word of caution here, don't abuse my email, because you see how many students you have here, and only one. So I can't possibly answer to all of you. I mean, if all of you sent one message to me today, I would be overwhelmed, okay, by email messages. So typically, the information you need to know, it's already there. You need to look for it. So if you ask me, what time do we have classes on Wednesday? Well, I'm not going to answer this, because there is the class is already there, so you don't need me to tell you what time we have classes, right? If you ask me something different, of course, I'll do my best to answer as fast as possible. But please don't ask me information that is already online. Also, I don't know why, but I started to receive questions and emails about enrolling, about I don't have my matricola, I'm transferring from another university. I don't know why, because I'm not the Segreteria, I'm not the student office, and I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. I really don't know what to answer. Okay, so I know that the Segreteria can be frustrating because sometimes it takes a lot of time, okay, for them to answer, but eventually they do answer. Okay, so be patient. And really, they are the only ones that can help you on some topics, because I don't know, simply I don't know the answer to what you're going to ask me. Okay, so try to address the questions to the right people. Okay, so if you have a question about the accounting course, I would be glad to answer it. If you have questions about the enrollment process, unfortunately, I'm not the person with the right competences, okay, to answer this question. Class schedule. Well, talking about this, Mondays, 9-11, Wednesdays, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., Thursday, 9-11, and Friday, 1 p.m., 3 p.m. So I do not get to choose my schedule, okay? So I don't like it, but this is the schedule. In case there are changes, which is rare, I mean, I don't plan any changes, but it could happen. Maybe sometimes they set a meeting in the same time when I have class. Okay, and sometimes I have to go to those meetings. Okay, because there is, as you realize, there's plenty of bureaucracy. Okay, at university. So in that case, maybe I'll have to either cancel class entirely, or I'm going to shorten the class. And in this case, I'm going to post an announcement on our website. And I'm going to announce this here in front of you, because typically I know this beforehand. Okay, I know this at least 1 week in advance, and then I'm going to post on our website. Probably not on Twitter anymore. Now you know that we have the credits, okay, at university, and this is a 12 credits course, meaning that it is a big course, okay, one of the biggest, okay, because mathematics, accounting, though they have 12 credits, it means 90 hours of face-to-face classes, right? So this is the limit, the time limit we have. That's why we have so many classes, okay, in a week. My goal is to end by before Christmas. Okay, because otherwise we also have an extra week in January of classes, but hopefully we won't need that. If all goes according to plans, we're going to finish our classes before Christmas, which is perfect, because then you have time to review the material and you should have started already, but you need to prepare for the exams. Now, talking about the exams, and it is probably too early to worry about the exam. Okay, but how do they work? Well, at university, we offer exams at specific dates, specific parts of the year. We have the winter session, January and February, the summer session, which is June and July, and the fall session, which is September. Okay, so there are 3 times in a year where you can take the exam, any exam. Okay. Of course, any exam, as long as it's one that you have attended. I mean, you cannot take, I don't know, advanced accounting in January because you're first year students. Okay? So you can only take your own exam, not exams of other years of other curriculum. So in the winter session, we have 3 dates. So you can choose any of those 3 dates. You can take the exam 3 times if you want. Okay, hopefully not, but it is not a problem. If you fail, you just take the exam again. Okay, it's not a big issue. Sometimes it happens. It's okay. It's a waste of time. It's a nuisance, but it's not really the end of the world if you fail one exam. You just retake it. Okay, another date. So we have 3 options, 3 dates in the winter session, 2 in the summer session, and 1 in the fall. So those are 6 possible dates in 1 year. Okay. If you fail to take the exam in the first year, you can take this exam next year. Okay, so there's no limit. So sometimes there are students of the second year, third year, and even beyond that take the accounting exam. Okay, why? Because they did not take this exam in the first year. I strongly suggest you take this exam as soon as possible, because all the business exams are related to this, and moreover, you won't be able to take any business exam without taking accounting first. So there are the exams about, well, obviously advanced accounting. Okay, you can't take advanced accounting without first taking accounting. Okay, but all the others, the management, business management, marketing, everything, finance, you need accounting first. Okay, so take this exam as fast as possible, because otherwise it will block your career. That's why we have sometimes students which are older than you, and they are still here because they did not pass the accounting exam. They still have to take all the other business exams. Okay, so my suggestion is try to take this exam. Hopefully, the winter will be best. Okay, without, because then in the summer you have the other exams. You have microeconomics and the other business management and the other exams you need to take. Now, there are some rules available online, so you can read them on Moodle. Some of the rules are very practical. Bring your own calculator, okay, so something like that. Also, rules related to the actual grading, how the exam is going to be performed. It is going to be a written exam. Oh, sorry, a written exam and an optional oral exam. Okay, so you read the rules and you see how it works. The written test is about exercises, so you need to know how to do stuff. Okay, not just, well, I know that an income statement includes revenue expenses. Okay, now I want you to prepare an income statement. Not just with labels, with numbers. Okay, this is a skill you need to learn. But sometimes students, they prepare the income statement without the numbers. Okay, it's good to know that you know the labels, but you don't know how to calculate the values. Okay, and that's our goal. It will be also being capable of calculating those values. Okay, so exercises and open questions. There's no multiple choice. So open questions where you can where I expect a short answer. Okay, not you know, an essay. Okay, a short answer to those questions. And then you have the oral exam, which is optional, as I said, and it is reserved to those that have a grade of 24 and above. Okay, you know, we have grades from 0 to 30, actually 30 and lode. Okay, it will be the maximum achievable. So you need 18 to pass, which is 6. Okay, 6 over 10. And the maximum is 30. And of course, the super maximum will be 30, and the loaded, which is rarely attributed to those exceptional performances. Sometimes it happens. Okay, but just to give you an idea, maybe once or twice per year in my course. Okay, at least maybe I don't know, maybe other courses will be different. But there are plenty of people that get 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, so it's not impossible. And there are plenty of people that unfortunately fail because they sometimes they understate the difficulty, because, as we see at the beginning, it's not going to be that complex. And sometimes they just don't take this seriously in general, university in general. They don't have time. Maybe they're forced to maybe their mom tells them they have to study this, and I don't know why, but there are people that really keep repeating this exam time after time, year after year. Okay, you don't want to be one of those people, okay, because you want to try and pass the exam as fast as possible, because otherwise it's going to be a huge waste of your time and money. If you think in terms of maximizing your investment, this is not a good way of maximizing your investment, the investment you are making here. Now, of course, and then of course there are people who have serious personal problems, and of course I understand that. Okay, I'm talking about those who are not really convinced. They don't know why they're here, because some people study business economics maybe because, as I said, yeah, because their mom told them to do, or because they think they don't know what else to do. I mean, that's fine, it happens. But you're not going to have just a superficial glance at business and economics here. You're going to have a well in-depth analysis of business and economics, not just in accounting, all the other courses. So if you really don't like the topics, it's going to be hard, okay, because it's like studying, still you see here, guys here, we're studying, anatomy. You're blemish, you don't like seeing blood, and it's not a good idea. Okay, so maybe you should study something different. Okay, and sometimes it happens in this field, in business and economics. Okay, you know what? Let's have a short break now, because now I think I talked enough, and then we start by explaining what accounting is. Okay, 10 minutes sharp. So we resume at 10:15.
Okay. All right, so just a moment. I know that you in the back have some problems hearing me, and I understand that. And I was surprised when I did not find a microphone in this room. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a microphone because we do have an amplifier there, and I hope that we can connect it to the audio system, because otherwise I understand. I try to speak loud, I have my limits. Hopefully we're going to get a microphone by next class. Okay, I'm going to ask for it after class. Now, I would like you to use your mobile or laptop or tablet, whatever, and go to the website. Because we're going to, I would like to hear your opinion. Okay, it's a quiz. Okay, what is accounting? What is the topic we're studying? And I would like to hear your opinion about this topic, essentially. Let me know if it works. Should work from mobile too, or do you have access to the wireless network here at the university yet? Not yet. Okay, you will when you have your matricula, so everything is linked to that. You can choose more than one option on the board. You can choose all 4 options. All right. So I see that you're still voting. Some of you wrote all of them. Okay, I got this message from one of you. And which is right, actually correct. Accounting is all of this, from bookkeeping, which is recording transactions, advising on taxation. There's a specific branch of accounting called tax accounting. We won't deal with that, but there's a specific branch, and tax advisors, okay, and commercialistics, okay, CPAs. Those are tax very often, not only, but very often they are also tax advisors. Providing information to investors and creditors. We learned what difference is, but investors and creditors, they have an interest in the business because they lend money to the business, or maybe because they are the owners of the business. So they need information. However, accounting also assists management in taking decisions. So if you want to decide whether to continue to sell a specific product or to drop it, or deciding whether to invest in some specific equipment, or whether to accept a special order from a customer, those decisions are going to be based on financial information. I mean, there are many other issues to consider, but you need to start from the financials. Okay? What is the consequence of my decision? How does my decision affect the earnings of the business, the revenues, the expenses? Okay? That's financial information. The accounting system is going to provide you with this information. And then, of course, there are many other issues to consider which are not financial. For instance, issues related to marketing and so on. But you start from the financials. And this is also one of the issues that we're going to deal with, making decisions. And those decisions are going to be based on information about costs, about the structure of costs, about relevant information and non-relevant information for decision. And so it's going to be all of this in reality. Now, most of you tend to focus on this because this is the hardest part. Okay, so bookkeeping and recording the information correctly. This is why we're going to spend quite some time on explaining how to record the information. We'll talk about bookkeeping. We'll talk about something called double entry bookkeeping, which is the method we use. But that's not all. Actually, it's not the most important part of accounting nowadays, because, well, we need to go back to the reason why we study accounting here at the university. Okay, because as I say, some of you studied this at school already. So you might wonder, okay, why do I have to study accounting again? Is it going to be the same, or is it going to be different? Well, the point is, you need to know bookkeeping because it is a very powerful tool in order to understand how accounting works. In order to read financial statements, if you know your bookkeeping, this is a very, very powerful tool to understanding the financial statements. It's not essential. I mean, there are people that live happily without knowing bookkeeping, and they can, sometimes they can even read financial statements, but we want to go beyond that level. However, bookkeeping by itself is not enough because nobody is going to hire you
in order to do the bookkeeping of a firm. Why? Well, first of all, because you don't need a graduate at the university to do that, since they teach this at school, so you don't need someone with a degree in business. But most importantly, machines are disrupting this sector. Artificial intelligence, automation. This is something that machines do better than you, faster, with less errors. Okay. So do you want to learn something that a machine can do better than you? It's not really a good idea, right? Because it means that your skills will not be employable anymore. However, for us, this is a tool to learn the more advanced skills that machines cannot replace. Okay, so it might seem strange at the beginning because when we were going to set so many rules that you'll think that accounting is just learning rules. And of course, computers are better at memorizing than we are, right? So accountants can be replaced by computers. Well, bookkeepers certainly can and will be replaced by computers. Accountants is different because accounting requires judgment. The reason why we study accounting at university is not because we want you to become bookkeepers, because we want you to exercise your judgment to solve problems. Right? That's why people are going to hire you first, and businesses are going to hire you, not because you know how to bookkeep transactions because they have computers for that, but they want you to solve problems. And problems would be, for instance, if I replace the windows in this room, what are the consequences on my financial statements? Is the value of this room going to increase, or it just maintenance that I report in my income statement, so my earnings will be lower, so I have less earnings? Or if I write some software, if I pay someone to prepare a website for my business, is that an expense or investment? In order to answer those questions, it requires judgment, and those are fairly simple questions. Okay? There are much more advanced problems in accounting. Okay? So if I issue a convertible bond, do I have to separate the equity component from the liability component? Do I have to recognize an option? And how do I measure this option? This is more advanced. Okay, probably don't understand what I'm saying, but this is an example of a more advanced problem. And it is difficult, in my opinion, that computers are going to replace humans in this field. Okay, so there will always be need to, humans are always going to be needed in order to make decisions and exercise their judgment in this field too. Now, since you don't want to learn something that machines can do better than you, or better, you don't want to be replaced by machines, that's why you need to go beyond the mechanical learning. Okay, I know how to do this. Okay, perfect. There is a computer that does this better than you. You need to know why you do this, because this way you can solve problems that the computers don't know. You can solve new problems because machines can typically solve problems which are known already, okay, for which we know the answers. What about the other problems? Problems for which we don't know the answers. Well, that's why we need people like you with the expertise necessary to solve those problems, right? So if you just stick to the basics and you learn how to do stuff, you're probably going to pass the exam, no problem. Okay, but then what you learn is not going to be what the employers need from you. And you need to realize that, as I said, you're not going to be the only ones graduating 3 years from today in business and economics. There are going to be many other people out there. Competition is rather fierce. And if you don't really add any value, okay, to the organization, why should they hire you? Because you have a degree? Well, by itself, it's not really worth that much. Okay, it's a certification that says you have studied for 3 years, you have endured 3 years of study. So certainly it's a useful certification. However, employers are going to check whether you know how to do stuff, and you know it could be finance or accounting or marketing or human resources, depending on the field in which you want to be employed. And if you don't, they're going to hire someone else. Okay, so having a degree in business or economics by itself does not make sure that you're going to be employed, unfortunately. So if you specialize on one hand, and if you study correctly, if you study trying to understand the whys and whens and wheres, you need to ask yourselves questions always. Okay, this way you can exercise your judgment, and you can also solve new problems. Because as I said, one of the main issues here is not solving the problems for which we already know the answer. You don't need to hire someone with a business degree to do that, right? We need people that solve new problems for which we don't have the answers. This is what firms and companies and businesses need. Okay, so this is why I try to emphasize the theory behind this. One of the many complaints about university, okay, the classes, the audio system, the Segreteria Studenti, and so on. Of course, there are many complaints, but one of the most common complaints is that there is too much theory, not enough practical knowledge. It's a fair objection up to a point, because we need theory at university. Okay. We also need to try to explain how the theory connects to reality. Okay, this is also our challenge as professors. But we need theory because theory will allow you to face new problems. If we only taught the practical applications, then we teach you how to solve problems which are known today. We don't know how the world will be 10 years from today. Will you be ready? Well, it depends on what you know to do. If you know how to solve unexpected problems, probably you are going to be ready. But in order to solve those problems, you need a sound theory reality. Okay, so this is why I'm going to emphasize very often the theory behind all the explanations we make here. So why do we debit cash? Well, because there is a theory that says that accounts are prepared this way, and we choose some accounting styles. There is an explanation behind that. Okay, so those explanations are important in this course. So it's important to know the practical applications, okay, and the theory behind it. Okay, because I believe that's my my challenge. Okay, to try to put this together, theory and practical applications. So it's not going to be all theory. We're going to also to see real financial statements. Okay, we're going to try to get some information out of those statements. But there is also an important part of theory, not just in accounting. I mean, in all courses. But sometimes people are surprised by this, and we'll focus on this, on providing information, but we start from bookkeeping, through bookkeeping. So bookkeeping will be the initial focus. And as I said, since at the beginning, it's kind of hard, okay, at the beginning at least, it probably most of your attention will be focused there, but be careful, this is not the main goal of your study. I mean, you need to pass the exam, so you need to know how to record transactions. Okay, but try to keep in mind why we do this. So why do they make me study this? Okay. Not because you're going to actually bookkeep transactions. Okay, because the answer is different, because you need this tool in order to better understand financial reporting in general. All right, let's continue here with the presentation. Now we know this. Now we can summarize what accounting is. So we mentioned bookkeeping, so collecting the information. Then we have analyzing what information is relevant and what's not. If some information is not needed in order to make decisions, it's not relevant. So why should we worry about this information? Okay.
And we need to present information in a meaningful way. It means that it must be understandable. And in order to be understandable, we use standards. We use a codified way of communicating information. So financial statements are a codified communication of information. This is how firms communicate, essentially. I'm going to show you a couple of examples, of course. And then, of course, you need to make sure that users understand the information. Okay, so this is also understanding, assisting from the user, interpreting information. This is more of, let's say, an advanced accounting topic, financial analysis. Okay, something we won't really explain in depth. In this course, you're going to learn this next year. Okay, next year we're going to analyze the information in order to make the numbers talk, okay, so to say, in order to read what's behind the numbers. So why do we need information? Because people need to make decisions, okay? So people need to make decisions, all kinds of decisions. So you mentioned creditors and investors in one of your answers, but also added, well, there is also the management involved, not just the creditors and the investors. We have the governments, tax authorities, or just for statistics maybe. If they need information. Now, decision maker doesn't mean that you have to decide about the life or death of someone. It means simply deciding about investing or not in a specific company. Should you buy shares of Tesla, which is very famous? Well, someone is shaking their head. Let's look at the fundamentals. Let's look at their financial statements. Are they profitable or not? That's a question you could ask before deciding whether to invest or not. Should you lend money to a company? If you're, let's say, you're a bank manager, you need to decide whether to lend or not money, and at which price. This decision. Once again, should you invest in a specific asset? Should you keep selling a specific product or not? Okay, all kind of decisions we make in business can be made on the basis of financial information. And this is what accounting is for, providing financial information. That's why accounting is sometimes said to be the language of business. It's a language with its own terms. I will emphasize this very often, technical terms. Okay, so when we say loss, we mean a very specific phenomenon. We don't mean liabilities. We don't mean debt. We don't mean equity. So we have technical words we're going to use. And it's very important to learn the technical language. The same way doctors learn all the names of all the human body, otherwise they cannot, all the parts, otherwise they cannot communicate. If I don't know what the name of that bone there, I cannot communicate with another doctor, right? So they use a technical language and they spend a lot of time learning this language. It takes a lot of time, right? And we're going to do the same. Fortunately, we have less technical terms than doctors have, but yet we do have technical terms and we need to learn them and we need to use them correctly. Now, for those online, we have a skeleton. Maybe you can see this on our just to the right of the white. So, it's important you understand this information. And a language has its own technical terms. It also has its own grammar, so to say, very simplified, but yet it is a grammar. So it's not unlike learning a new language. Of course, luckily, it's not as complex as a real language, but yet it requires some effort on your side because of these technicalities. So, summarizing what accounting is, I'm going to show you this slide here.
What we have here? Well, what people normally think accounting is on the left, and what accounting really is on the right. Now, normally people think that if you learn the rules, accounting is all about learning rules, memorizing rules, and then applying those rules, right? So applying those rules and deciding whether the information is black and white, and then classifying the information in the right slot. That's it. Okay, so if you know the rules, you know accounting. So any idiot can memorize the rules, and any computer can replace you, essentially. Okay, this was one of the challenges I faced when I was a student of accounting. After the university, I met other students of physics or hard sciences. And they told me, what kind of research can you do in accounting? You just memorize the rules. Well, this is what you think, but it is not really like that, because in reality, the reality is different, because accounting is born from the economic activities. It's not something which is imposed from the top. It stems from the businesses. We'll learn just very, very quickly some history, okay, of accounting. And accounting comes from the very need of having the necessary information to make decisions, and this need comes from the businesses themselves, not from the banks, from the governments, or from someone else. Okay, so it's a basic need to have the information which is necessary to make decisions in order to run a business. So the merchants, okay, in the past, they invented, actually, not the merchant, well, they did. The merchants in Venice in the 15th century, they invented accounting as we use it today. And because they needed information in order to run their business, not because there was someone else telling them how to do it. So when you have shades of gray, it's not black and white, there are shades of gray, you need to make judgments in order to make the right decisions. Okay, so essentially this is the approach. So there are shades of gray. It's not black and white or white. It seems like it is black and white, because at the very beginning, of course, we need to simplify a lot, and we need to start with the rules that seem very, very, very definite. Okay, so it's either this or either that. In reality, problems can be more complex. The reality is more complex in general. You might face problems that you haven't heard before. In that case, there is your judgment there that must solve the problem in order to make good decisions. That's the idea. So let me indulge in these last 10 minutes in explaining some history about accounting, because accounting is ancient, is as ancient as writing. Essentially, it was invented along with, or even before writing, probably. You probably know that the oldest examples of accounting are just in those tables and recording how the tributes paid to the king, something like that. Okay, so it's really ancient. But let's skip to the most recent times, because this is what I wanted to show you. What happens and what happened around the 15th century, and that led today to accounting as we know it. So I mentioned the merchants in the 15th century because this is when we had the monetization of the economy. I mean, they had money earlier, but it was not really widespread use, okay, of money. People used barter. They exchanged goods with other goods, okay, most likely. So modern banking was invented. Banking already existed, but modern banking was invented in Italy. It's an Italian invention. In Florence, in Venice, in Genoa, the printing press was invented. More people became literate, they could read and write, and something called joint or split financing was invented. That is, instead of running a one-man show, okay, so one person owns the business, manages the business, and does everything. You have a group of investors that put their money, that pool their resources in a business. Okay, so you have not just one entrepreneur. Okay, suddenly you have more than one investor, and they need to communicate. Maybe one is in Venice, the other is in Hamburg, and they need to communicate, they need to exchange financial information. So that's why bookkeeping was invented as we use it, called double-entry bookkeeping by this guy here, which is Luca Pacioli. And as you can see, he was a friar, okay, you can see from the dress. Nobody knows who this is. He was a mathematician, he was a friend of Leonardo da Vinci's, and he also invented accounting as we know it. Or maybe he formalized accounting as we use it today. Double entry bookkeeping. Okay, so he invented many of the accounting terms we use today were invented back then. So it's an old system. And some say that this invention, the invention of bookkeeping really helped the world economy to grow back then because it provided a tool which is used all over the world. Okay, not just in Europe, it's all over the world. They use the same bookkeeping system. It stems from this invention of 500 years ago. Now, when we learn about double-entry bookkeeping, we are going to use many terms which are strange, but they come from this invention, and even in English, they actually come from Italian. Okay, the very name bank comes from the Italian banco. Okay, so it's many banking terms, accounting terms, they come from Italian. Then what happens? Very important developments. The corporations was invented. Remember, we said many investors instead of just one investor. Well, investors put their money together, but they also limit their liability. They limit the risks. Okay, so if you want to invest, we're talking about the 17th century, in trading between Europe and Southeast Asia, it's a very dangerous investment because it takes more than 1 year for the ship to sail from the Netherlands to Southeast Asia. There are storms and pirates and everything. Okay, so it's a very risky endeavor, and no one could just afford to take this risk alone. But different people, they can pool their money. They can limit the risk to the money they have invested. Okay, so if anything goes wrong, they lose the money. They don't lose the rest of their funds, of their wealth. And when the ships come back, they can share the profits. Okay, so this is the idea of a corporation. And corporations, of course, still exist today. They play a very relevant role in our economy. Then we have the Industrial Revolution and the introduction of the income tax. This is very important because if you introduce an income tax as opposed to a land tax, a tax on lands, a tax on windows, tax on anything they could tax back then, there was not income. Then suddenly you need to define what income is, and you need to measure what an income is. Okay, this was a need that emerged in the 19th century. The financial markets became relevant. Financial markets were invented in the 17th century, but they became relevant in the 19th century. The New York Stock Exchange, the Wall Street, okay, originally it was just a tree. Under the shade of this tree, merchants would meet in order to exchange information and in order to trade. So the market then became very relevant. And especially we had this issue with long investments that will require long-term return. Think about the railroads. Okay, so if you build a railroad, it takes 5, 7, 8 years to make a profit because the investment is so large, it's so expensive that it takes a lot of time to get the return from the investment. And therefore, you need a way to measure the profitability of this investment, which is not just money out and money in, which is cash. Money is cash in accounting. Okay, we say cash. So cash in, cash out, you calculate the difference. You say, okay, I made a profit, I didn't. If you do this with a railroad, you have a huge payment today, and you have inflows of cash
10 years from today, and nobody will invest in something like that, right? So you need a way to measure the profitability of an investment which is not linked to cash. And this is what we are going to do. Okay? It has a weird name. It's called accrual accounting, as opposed to cash accounting. Now, cash accounting is what we do in our personal economy. We think in terms of cash. So I spent, I don't know, 50 euro on a book, so I'm worse off than I was before because I have 50 euro less. Okay, that's cash accounting. In accrual accounting, we say you spent 50 euro, but you also get a book. So maybe you're not worse off than you were before. You're at the same level, your wealth remained the same, less money and more books. Okay, that's accrual accounting. And we'll explain how it works in our next classes. And this is what creates most of the problems in accounting, because cash accounting is easier. Everybody understands, I know, inflows and outflows of cash. The problem is when you move away from this model, then things become more complex and more difficult. So some people say that cash is king. Okay, so all that's relevant is cash, and those people work in finance. But we in accounting, we prefer to think of earnings, wealth, financial wealth in general, value rather than cash. Okay, so companies might create value. Sometimes they create value without creating cash, which is a problem for them. Because if you don't have money, you don't have money to pay your suppliers, your employees, and so on, and that's the problem. So we're going to do, of course, cash too. We don't forget about cash. However, it's not the only metrics, the only measure we have for the value generated by